And welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. So glad you made it again here this week. Very excited about the show we have, and we're going to be able to talk about a few teams that have already made tournament already this year. Who would have thought that we still got a month left in the fall sports season, and some of these teams have done so well, they've already qualified for tournament already. We'll get into those teams and a lot more. We have scores and stats all right here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Want to say a big thank you and a big support of our wonderful sponsors here today. We want to thank the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant located on Routes 5 and 10 in Berniston. Also by Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield. Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. And by Hubie's, the Tavern and Restaurant on Avenue A in Turners Falls. Want to say a big thank you to our producer, John Meisner, and also to Philippe Simone. Thank you, gentlemen. Also to Chris Collins and the FCAT. And, of course, we couldn't do it without the fine folks right here at GCTV. We're online, gctv.org. Well, why don't we get things started for you this week, and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. You know, one of the teams that's already qualified for tournament, and they are the team to be reckoned with when it comes to boys golf, is the Frontier Boys team. Frontier Boys Golf is now undefeated on the season, and they picked up another key win. It was on Monday of last week with a 15.5 to 8.5 win over Palmer. With that win, that secured at least a share of the Suburban West, the regular season title. And I can tell you this, Frontier right now is on pace to be able to most likely be Western Mass champions. They are that good, and they are that deep. And we'll get into some of those scores for you coming up in just a moment. Also, another big win for the Franklin County Tech School team. Their golf team rolls on with a 20-4 victory over Turners Falls. We'll talk about their scores that we'll have for you, the individual scores, in just a moment. Also, Hoosick picks up a win over Greenfield. And the way they do it is they go by total points, and of course the lowest ends up being how it rolls. Hoosick with a 161-185 victory over Greenfield. In field hockey, we can let you know that Mahar knocked off the Franklin County Tech 5-0 on Monday. Also, that Kaylee Boleno ended up stopping 16 shots in the loss for the Tech School. She had a very good game in the net. Well, the Mohawk girls field hockey team rolled on with a big win over Amherst, 7-0 back last Monday. Maya LaSure ends up with a hat trick. Tess Rancourt ends up with 2 goals and also an assist, and they end up thumping Amherst. Final score was 7-0. Mohawk jumped out to a 5-0 lead and never looked back. Caitlin Johnston and Alexis Williams also found the back of the net, while Courtney Allen and Williams also had assists in this one. Shelby Sinister recorded 2 assists also in the game for the Warriors. Mohawk outshot Amherst in that one 27-2, and Cordero Kendall ended up with 2 saves to nab the shutout in the net for the Warriors. Well, in girls volleyball last Monday, it was Turners Falls with a 3-0 victory over South Hadley. Taylor Murphy ended up with 9 kills, 5 aces, 3 digs as she led the Turners Falls Thunder with their win over South Hadley. They win game 1, 25-18. They lose game 2, 18-25. Win game 3, 26-24. Win game 4, 26-24. Wow, that was a very good matchup. Dabney Rollins finished with 9 kills and 4 aces for the Thunder. As of last Monday, 8-3 on the season. Mercedes Morales ended up with 4 aces. Haley Bogus picked up 16 assists. Also, she had 5 kills, and Lindsay Whittier, Lindsay Whiteman, she ended up playing very well defensively. Well, Frontier knocks off East Long Meadow back last Monday. How about this? 27 aces for this great, and I mean great, volleyball program. They end up winning game 1, 25-5, game 2, 25-9, game 3, 25-22. Ashley Talega and Olivia Dean paced the offensive effort, 5 kills apiece for each one of them. Olivia Simino ends up with 4 kills in the win for Frontier. The Redhawks received 10 assists from their setter, Olivia Rosewarn, who also tossed in 8 aces on the night. Also, Simino ended up serving 9 aces on the day. Talega ended up with 5 aces. Just a very solid day. And don't forget about Sarah Zoli. She ended up doing well, and she picked up a couple aces too. The win Frontier over East Long Meadow, and that was in volleyball last Monday, 3-0. Belchertown knocked off Greenfield. Greenfield struggling this year in volleyball, but Lexi Rao continues to have a very good season for this Green Wave team. She ends up with 11 assists. She also recorded 3 aces, but visiting Greenfield got beat Game 1, 25-19, Game 2, 25-19, Game 3, 25-17. Also can let you know that Greenfield really has been working hard on trying to get some new players to get some more playing time and for better experience. And Danielle Lively ended up with 4 kills and 3 aces. Also, Denise Monaho ended up with 5 aces for Greenfield in the loss. As of last Monday, Greenfield was 1-7 in volleyball on the season. Well, East Hampton knocked off Mohawk in volleyball last Monday. Jordan Rice ended up with 17 digs to pace the Mohawk Warriors, and the Warriors end up losing Game 1, 25-22. They lost Game 2, 25-9, and they lost Game 3, 25-17. Rice also added 2 kills for the Warriors. As of last Monday, they were 2-7. Octava Crawford ended up pulling down 4 kills and also a couple of aces and a block. Julia Massey ended up with 4 kills, along with 5 digs and 2 aces. Ashley Reynolds, she amassed 8 assists, as well as 4 digs, 2 aces, and a pair of kills for Mohawk. They end up losing to East Hampton last Monday, 3-0 in girls volleyball. Well, in volleyball, the struggle continues for the Franklin County Tech girls. They get beat by Dugan. Final was 3-0. Summer Gaddrow continues to have a very good year for them. She ended up having 8 kills, but host Franklin County Tech was unable to snag its first win of the season, and they ended up losing Game 1, 25-20, 25-20 in Game 2, and 25-12 in Game 3. Gaddrow also added a couple of aces and a couple of assists, as well as 2 digs. A very strong all-around performance for her. Also, Kimberly Petrovich ends up with 3 kills, 4 digs and an ace, and Kelly Trudeau ended up tossing in 3 digs to go with an ace and an assist in the losing cause for Franklin County Tech. Well, back on Monday, we had some soccer action that went on, and I can tell you that in soccer, it was a nice victory, as far as I'm concerned, for this Pioneer team. They took on a team that has had a very good season so far, and that is Springfield's Cy Tech. Cy Tech undefeated on the season, and they had a chance to play against Pioneer, and it was up in Northfield. And on Monday, it ended up being a 1-1 draw, which says a lot in this one, because the way that Pioneer is playing right now, they are in contention to be able to compete with this team for possibly a league championship. Well, I can say that their goalkeeper, Ryan Underwood, he did record 5 saves, so that was a big help for them in the net. Pioneer, of course, has to take on another big powerhouse team later in the week when they take on Marhar. We'll have details on that score for you. Also, the game was scoreless at halftime, but then Nate Musso gave Pioneer their lead. It was 1-0, and then in the 45th minute, they ended up getting a goal that was really given up late by this team from Cy Tech, but they settled for a 1-1 tie at home. Great job by Pioneer. They continue to have a very good season. As of last Monday, they were 5-1-1 and 3-1-1 in their division. Well, the Franklin County Tech boys, they continue their winning ways, and they have qualified for tournament. The Franklin County Tech knocked off Dugan. Final score was 9-2. Still a lot more games left this year for them, but Giovanni Reggiano netted a hat trick, and the host of players who joined in also did well too. Will Turn, Ryan Campbell, Will Rosenberg, Eugene Bufford, also Jared Velamedi Persui, as well as Jake Shearer, all tallied a goal in this one for the Tech School. They end up, like I said, with 9 goals on the game. Good old Grayson Funk had an easy day in the net. Only 2 saves for him. But I'll tell you, this team right here from the Tech has done well. Qualify for tournament, undefeated in their league, and they are, as of last Monday, 7-1 on the season. And we'll see how they do throughout the week. Well, Pioneer, Their girls team ended up playing a little soccer action too on Monday last week as they knocked off Athol. Final score was 3-1. I can let you know that Sammy Martinez had a pair of goals. So that was really sweet for the host Pioneer team, who ends up picking up that independent victory. Nikki Poulin said of her team that, "I think we finally found something that works. Things are really happening for this team right now." And also, a big congratulations goes out to a couple of new girls that we get a chance to mention their name. One of those is Alzamini Ciccioni. Congratulations goes out to her. Her dad is the owner of the great famous restaurant Terrazza, and our good friend of Boz, so his daughter doing very well in that game. She ended up doing good, but it was a nice win for Pioneer. They needed that victory, their first win of the year, and that brought up a lot of intensity and a lot of excitement, and congratulations to Leah Fuse, also a great game in the net. She ended up with 12 saves in this one. Also, Ali Unitas and also Alina Cicciana end up getting assists for Pioneer. So it's great to be able to see these kids working very hard and to pick up a nice win. And that was a nice win for them at home, under the lights on Monday night. Yes, Pioneer girls pick up their first victory of the year with a 3-1 win over Athol. Well, Hopkins ends up beating Greenfield in girls soccer. We can run down some details on that. At the beginning of the season, they were on a roll. Greenfield has now dropped 2 in a row as of last Monday. According to their coach, Tina Riddell, she says, we need to start taking it one game at a time. One thing she will tell you is that Hopkins definitely outshot us 24-11. That was a big problem there. But what about Dina Samaki having a great year? She ended up with 15 saves in the loss for Greenfield. They get beat by Hopkins 3-0. Well, the winning ways continue for this excellent Frontier girls soccer program, and a nice job done as they beat Smith Vogue. Final score was 5-1. Natalie Denkowitz ends up having the huge year that she has. She scored 5 times on Monday. She is one of the most dominant female soccer players in our area. Denkowitz notched a couple of pair of goals in the first 9 minutes of the game. The first was assisted by Jenna Martin, the second by Cambry Hamilton, another good player on this team. Denkowitz is really getting things done. She has had a great year so far. Yeah, it was all about her and her team with the 5-1 win over Smith Vogue on Monday. Also, it looks like Gateway knocked off Mohawk. Final score was 9-0 in girls soccer on Monday. I can tell you that Emily Rowell ended up with 9 saves in the loss. We talked about the golf individual scores because we have a chance to share those with you. Let's run down a couple of those for you. In that Turner's Falls versus Ware game on Monday, where it was 19-5, Brody Buska ended up with a 48, Alex Sulda with a 48, and Brian Poirier with a 49. Joey Mosca with a 55, Tyler Noyce with a 60, Aiden Bailey with a 63. Huzik with their big win over Greenfield. I do have some individual scores in this one. Ryan Cody ends up with a 41, Cam Baird with a 44, Gabe LaRoche with a 48, Jake Cody 52, Danny Provost 53, Dylan Archer with a 55. Franklin County Tech with their win over Turner's Falls. We got to run down all the big medalists in this one. The medalist goes to Mike McGoldrick of the Franklin County Tech with a 42. Mike Patnote from the Tech with a 43. Ryan Artis ends up with a 48 for the Tech School. Nate Pelletier with a 44. Brady Buska for Turner's with a 48. Alex Sulda for Turner's with a 48. Brian Poirier for Turner's with a 49. Anthony Zager for the Tech School with a 53. Joey Mosca for Turner's with a 55. Tyler Noyce with a 60 for Turner's, and Aiden Bailey with a 63 for Turner's. Well, in that boys golf matchup between Frontier and Palmer back on Monday, where Frontier continues their winning ways, they end up with great play from Kyle Maynard. Kyle Maynard ended up with a 36 as the medalist in this one. Next closest to him was Gunnar Moore from Frontier with a 39. Porter Clancy ends up with a 43. Mikey Kordoff with a 46. Kalen Evans with a 50. Brian Bauman with a 54. So there you have it. Really good stuff right there last Monday. Lots of action that was happening, and we have it for you right here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Want to say hello. I'm Bobby C. Want to welcome you here today. You know, the great part about being here is that we get to be able to recognize the great achievements of our local athletes right here in Franklin County each and every week. Want to say a big thank you to our underwriters. Thank you so much to the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant, where they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week in good old Berniston. How about Denny's Pantry on Berniston Road in Greenfield, serving breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Also by our friend Lisa Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. She can give you a thorough hearing evaluation. And don't forget our friends over at Hubie's Restaurant and Tavern, Avenue A in Turner's Falls. Great food, great fun, great company. Meet me at Hubie's. As we continue on with the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, we slide into Tuesday. Well, Greenfield High School took a major step in proving that they are one of the best Division II field hockey programs, and they did it in a nice fashion, boy. They end up edging Minnechaug in a big win on Tuesday. Final score was 1-0 in the battle of unbeaten teams on a very rainy day on Tuesday. Unfortunately, the game was called with 19 minutes left to play due to the heavy rains and lightning. Didn't matter, though, because enough time was played in this one to give Greenfield the win. Aaron Thayer, the coach of Greenfield, says, you know, one thing we could say about our wonderful goalie is she showed up today and she played the way we knew she could play. Great job by Sam Smith. She said that she came out determined. She was awesome in the goal today. By the way, our defense was very good. Defense pressured the ball very well. We made good decisions, good choices. And yes, they did a very nice job in this one, picking up the win. The Green Wave did outshoot the Falcons in the second half, 8-1. They also ended up outshooting them in the first half, so they really outplayed this team. Greenfield looked like a different team, boy, I'll tell you. After halftime, the Green Wave really started to show their true colors of how good they really are. Katie Hazelton started the play when she ended up sending a ball to Reagan Hickey. She ended up dodging a pair of defenders and sent the pass right into Audrey Brusciano. And hey, between all that, you get it all together. A nice goal scored. Green Wave picks up a win. They end up having to have a very busy week, though, because they have to take on another really good team in Long Meadow this last week as well. We'll give you updates on that score later here in the show because they have it for you. You know, big win for them, according to their coach there. She also says the girls certainly proved that they can rise to the challenge. We struggled with that last year. This year, we are rising, and it really shows the growth of our team. But we're still young, too. You know, 5 senior, yeah, but the rest of the kids are sophomores, freshmen, and even 8th graders. This girl has a serious future as she already is a great coach. So, Aaron, great job with your girls. They're fun to watch. You have really done a great job with this program, and I want to thank you for being able to give us a great product to talk about each and every week. She said, you know, the nice thing is the younger kids have really stepped up their play as well. So congratulations, Greenfield. Big win over Minnechaug last Tuesday in field hockey. Well, in golf, and we'll run down the score a little bit later, it was Ware over Turner's Falls, 19.5 to 2.5. Also, boys cross country on Tuesday. Frontier continues their winning ways. They're all set, ready to go for tournament time. Another team that's doing amazing. How about this? 10-0 on the season for this Frontier Red Hawk cross country team. They win against Mahar 15-50. They win also against Palmer 23-40, and they win 15-50 against Westfield Tech. Just so you know, it's like golf. The low number ends up being the victory. You know, there's nobody that can really stop this Frontier team. They are just so talented. Alex Sharp captured first place overall by 2 seconds for Frontier. He crossed the line at 15 minutes and 53 seconds. He ended up edging out one of the runners from Palmer. You know, Frontier's Karsten Carey, he ended up in 3rd place. He ended up running a time of 16 minutes and 21 seconds. His brother, Peter Carey, was 4th place at 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Other top 10 runners include Brenda and a 7th place finish of 15 minutes, 57 seconds. George Bayless ends up 8th, 18 minutes and 7 seconds. Patrick Boyden, 9th place, 18 minutes, 9 seconds. And Brett Robinson, 10th place at 18 minutes and 21 4 seconds. This cross-country team, awesome, baby. Also, in girls cross-country, it was Frontier. They're continuing their winning ways this year. And they end up beating Palmer 15-50, and they beat Westfield Tech 15-50. Another impressive performance from Angelina England. And that 8th grader has done some pretty special things this year. Her team qualified for tournament as well. They are 7-1 on the year. England won the race with a time of 20 minutes and 41 seconds. She ended up besting the field by 34 seconds. That is pretty impressive. Marie Diamond was the runner-up for Frontier. She crossed the line at 21 minutes and 15 seconds, followed by teammates Leah Gump, 3rd place, at 22 minutes and 2 seconds. Emily Luce, 4th place, at 22 minutes 40 seconds. Fiona House, 5th place, 23 minutes 47 seconds. Fiona Ferry, 6th place, at 23 minutes 55 seconds. Leah Vici, 7th place at 24 minutes and 4 seconds. Sadie Ross, 9th place, 24 minutes and 12 seconds. Also, Abigail Howard took 10th place at 24 minutes, 19 seconds. Think about this. Frontier puts 9 runners in the top 10 with their victory over Palmer and Westfield Tech. Great job by the girls cross-country team of Frontier. They are also looking bright going into tournament. Well, in girls volleyball, it was Putnam knocking off the struggling Franklin County Tech team, still looking for their first victory of the season. They ended up winning Game 1 25-7. They also won Game 2 25-14 and Game 3 25-4. Summer Gaudreau continues to do what she does best. She ends up with 3 digs and a kill for the Tech school. Kelly Trudeau added 3 digs. The Tech school still haven't won on the year. Well, Frontier picks up a nice victory in some boys soccer. That was back on Tuesday night of last week. They beat Munson 2-0. Looks like Timothy Barrington scored 5 minutes into the first half. Connor Bagden ended up tallying an assurance goal in a very wet day that was called to weather with 28 minutes remaining, and Frontier picking up that 2-0 victory. They, as of last Tuesday, Frontier are 5-3-1 and are on their way to being able to make tournament. So a nice job done by them. You know, according to their head coach, he said our expectations were much lighter, especially after scoring in 5 minutes. That was very nice to get us on the board. But we got real stagnant after that. Right now, we're making it difficult for ourselves offensively. My biggest concern is that are we going to be ready when it comes for tournament? That's a really good question, Coach. And you know what? You got to have that mindset to get into these kids that they need to be ready. I know you can do it, Coach Horton. You've done a nice job with this program. Mahar, Greenfield, end up having themselves a nice little match. And I will tell you that it was Greenfield getting beat by Mahar 3-0 in boys soccer. Alex Carballo ended up stopping 5 shots in the loss for Greenfield. I will say their head coach, Andy Roop, had a chance to talk to a bunch of us about where this team is going, and he'll tell you, we have just continued to improve each and every week. When we first started, we were getting blown out. Now we're not getting blown out. Our problem is we got to find the net ourselves. We need to start scoring. And I'm going to tell you right now, Coach Roop, you've done a nice job with this Greenfield team. Hey, best part about it is they've already won this year, where over the last 3 seasons, they didn't win at all. So this is a great testament to the hard work that this team has put in boys soccer. Well, let's run down some of those golf scores that we talked about for that Tuesday matchup between Ware and Turner's Falls, where Turner's Falls got beat. I could tell you that Aiden Bailey ended up with a 44 for Turners, Tyler Noyce with a 46, Alex Sulda with a 49, Brady Buska with a 51, Joey Mosca with a 55, and Brian Poirier with a 61. So congratulations goes out to our teams that have continued to do well and being able to make tournament, including that really good cross-country team that we have at Frontier. Frontier Fall Sports right now, the most solid program of any other school in Franklin County for fall sports. What am I saying? Well, girls field hockey, having a great year. Girls volleyball, having a great year. Boys and girls cross country, having a great year. Boys and girls soccer, both going to make tournament. Every single team right now for Frontier is looking like they're going to make tournament this fall season. Now that is pretty special. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. We get together each and every week right here on gctv.org, also on the FCAT in South Deerfield. Want to say a big thank you and a big shout out to John Meisner and also to Philippe Simone. Thank you, gentlemen, for the great job you do getting us on each and every week. Want to thank you folks for viewing. I hope you enjoy what we do each and every week for these kids. I know I enjoy doing it, and after having 100 shows under my belt, it surely has been a blast, that's for sure. Want to thank our friends at the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, also by our friends at Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Alber of Alber Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by our friends at Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turners Falls. As we continue on, we roll into Wednesday. Well, Wednesday, there was a lot of action that went on, and we want to talk about it right here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Well, Maya LaShore continues to enter the week. You know, it's funny because with her entering this week, she only had 4 goals. Well, she ended up with a hat trick the other day, and then she ends up doing well again. Following up her 3-goal performance on Monday, she ends up with a 4-goal outburst on Wednesday as the Warriors knocked off Pioneer 9-1. She is on fire, and her team is now at 500 after a very rough start. So there's a lot of good things that are happening right now with this field hockey program at Mohawk. Well, they got a very good coach, too. Coach Hopner is no joke, and she has done a wonderful job with this very young team. The Warriors now 5-5 on the year. They've won 3 straight games. You know, one of their other freshmen, Tess Rancourt, she ended up having a great game as well. Rancourt entered the week with 3 goals and has scored 5 times in the last 2 games. You know, that was a nice job for them to be able to have 2 of their younger players really stepping up. And that's what any coach has got to be happy with. And I know that Coach Lynn Hopner's got to be very pleased with the way these 2 girls have been playing. You know, they played without Caitlin Johnston. She entered the game tied with LaShore, but she took over in the scoring department with her big job that she had picking up the 4 goals in this one. Rancourt's also done a nice job. What about Avery Dupree? She chipped in a goal in this one. Sydney Taylor also scored her first career varsity goal in the win. Congratulations, Sydney Taylor. Nice job. She picks up her first varsity goal for Mohawk. You know, when you talk to Coach Lynn Hopner, she'll tell you that she's very pleased with her goal scorers, but she pointed out that, you know, they got to continue to play some good D, which I think they have. I mean, if you look at it, 7-0 against Amherst, 9-1 against Pioneer, hey, the kids are really doing a great job. Very unselfish, she said. You know, after starting the beginning of the season 1-3, now they're back to 500. That says a lot about the growth of their team, and it also says a lot about the coaching that is being done. Great job right there. So good job. Cordero Kendall ended up playing in the first half, and Emma French ended up coming in the second half. So they got some split time. Jenny Fuller ends up getting the lone goal for Pioneer. Also was assisted in this one by Michaela Glazier. Hopner pointed out the strong play for both of those Pioneer players, as well as Maya Cook and Sydney Unitas. Athena Fowler-Shaw, she stopped 6 shots in the loss for Pioneer. Well, Turners Falls continues their winning ways. Turners Falls locking another playoff berth for them, too, in field hockey. Last year, after missing the playoffs, this is a different program this year. They end up knocking off Amherst 8-0. 5 players scored for Turners Falls. The Thunder continued their winning ways. Matter of fact, the Thunder scored 6 times in the first half. 5 players notched goals. You know, Cassidy Wozniak ended up opening the scoring 35 seconds into the game with an assist from Bryn Tila. Also, Kaylin Vudrin followed up with her first of the season and an assist from Wozniak. Congratulations, Caitlin Vudrin. Nice job. She picks up her first varsity goal for the Thunder. Amber Taylor doing a nice job. She ends up doing well and picks up a goal, too. Kate Belanger scored her second of the season with 12 minutes to play in the first half. And Taylor, Paige Schulda, they ended up scoring their first of the year. So great job, Paige Schulda. All right. Paige Schulda ends up with her first career goal. So things are really starting to happen right now. Wozniak ended up scoring twice in the second half, picking up a hat trick. Big win right there for Turner's 8-0 over Amherst. And Haley Green made 8 saves in the net for the Thunder. Well, Mikey Kordoff, back on Wednesday, he celebrated his 16th birthday by getting a driving permit and also being the #1 golfer that did really well, firing a 39. Redhawks pick up a 22.5 to a 1.5 victory over Chicopee Comp. We'll give you those scores in just a moment. Greenfield picks up a win over Smith Academy, 16-8. Mohawk with a win over Westfield Tech, 14.5 to 9.5. We'll run down those individual stats for you coming up in just a moment. In girls soccer, it was the Franklin County Tech knocking off Westfield Tech. The Franklin County Tech school scored right before the break twice. They end up picking up the victory. They're now 4-4-1 on the season, and they were playing without 3 starters on the day, and I'll say that they did all right. So congratulations goes out to them. Their head coach, Dan Praisel, said, we really have started to see players play at their full potential. I think the big thing about today is that we were without a full team. We were missing a few players, and there were 3 veteran players. But the fact that we were able to stick it out and be able to pull off a victory really says a lot about our team. I agree. Great job right there. I want to let you know that Marley Wiles ended up netting her first goal of the season off of an assist by Desiree Doan. So congratulations, Marley Wiles, for picking up that goal in your nice win. It was a great win for them, honestly, especially having 3 veteran players that were out. Smith Vocational ends up beating Greenfield. Greenfield drops another victory, and Tina Rydell said Smith played aggressive. They had a few injuries, which definitely affected our ability to move forward. The injuries didn't help us at all, but I will say it definitely didn't help not having a full roster, but they got beat 3-0 to Smith Vocational, which Coach Rydell gave them credit for. Dina Samaki continues to play well. 8 shots were saved by her on the day. By the way, Greenfield, 4-4, 500 on the year. They started off so well. In boys soccer, Mount Greylock knocked off Pioneer. I tell you, this Mount Greylock team's very good, and they end up winning easily, 6-0. Ryan Underwood, he ended up turning away 8 shots in the loss for the Panthers. Well, in cross country, Mohawk sweeps boys and girls. They end up winning. They ended up playing the Hampton Charter School and Smith Vocational. The boys, let's talk about the boys' side for a minute. 3 of their runners crossed the finish line very well. 6 of them ended up being in the top 10. They beat Smith Voc 15-50. Camden Charter School 17-41. Dennis Simmons won the race with a time of 20 minutes, 23 seconds. Guy Rice LaSure ends up with the second place finish, 20 minutes and 25 seconds. Danny White took third, 22 minutes and 46 seconds. Connor Bailey was 5th for Mohawk with a time of 23 minutes, 16 seconds. Quinton Romer ends up 6th place at 23 minutes and 47 seconds, and Vincent Gauthier took 8th place with a time of 24 minutes and 30 seconds. On the girls' side, well, let's just say, watch out for Megan Davis. She won the race. She had a time of 19 minutes and 30 seconds. Also, we could say that Erica ended up in 2nd place with a time of 23 minutes, 12 seconds. Erica Lumen, 3rd place, 23 minutes and 40 seconds. Also, Carly Casamino ends up in 4th place with a time of 25 minutes and 19 seconds. Caitlin Upton, 5th place, 25 minutes and 38 seconds. Savannah Simmons, 7th place, 26 minutes and 13 seconds. Sierra Upton, 8th place at 28 minutes and 3 seconds. Kiera Goodall ends up with a time of 28 minutes and 4 seconds in 9th place. Caitlin Bizette ends up 10th place with a time of 31 minutes and 45 seconds. Great job. Cross country solid at Frontier, also at Mohawk. But you know what? Greenfield, they got a pretty good program as well, especially their boys team. Well, in girls volleyball, it was Marhar knocking off Mohawk. They end up losing game 1, 25-19, game 2, 25-20, game 3, 25-20 on Wednesday. Ashley Reynolds finished with 3 kills, 5 assists, and 4 aces in the loss. Also, Octavia Crawford ends up with 5 kills and 2 blocks. Jordan Rice ended up with 10 digs, 5 aces. Julia Massey ends up with 2 kills, 5 digs, and 3 aces. So, tough year for Mohawk volleyball. Well, let's run down those individual scores we talked about that we had in boys golf, where Greenfield ends up beating Smith Academy 16-8 on Wednesday. Can let you know that Ryan Cody ends up defeating Dan Kavanaugh. Gabe LaRoche, he ends up winning his match. Hunter Roberts gets a point for his team. Jake Cody ends up winning his match. Danny Provost wins his match. And Cam Baird ended up winning his match. Also, Mohawk taking on Westfield Technical Academy. The medalist goes to Tristan Lacrosse with a score of 45 for Mohawk. Will Guyette with a 50. Andy Robertson with a 50. Ben Thompson with a 53. Aiden Drury with a 62. And Pat Note ends up with a 79. So there you go. A lot of action that happened on Wednesday. Hey, I want to let you know, folks, special treat goes out to a special athlete. Reagan Hickey of Greenfield named the Mass Live Athlete of the Week. She is so talented. She's already won this award many times. Well, guess what, folks? She won it again. Reagan Hickey, the Mass Live Athlete of the Week. Congratulations goes out to her. Well, I want to set out a little reminder for you that you're invited to a special birthday party. That's right. GCTV is having a special gathering. It'll be here on Monday, October 22nd, 5:30 to 7:30. Doors open at 5. 5:30 to 7:30. You get a chance to be able to learn about the TV and the radio stations here. Get an idea of what it's like, how you can be able to become part of the team here. How would you like to maybe be a producer of a show? How would you like to have your own show and stand here in front of the camera, where Bobby C has always said, the extra 10 pounds don't matter. So I thought you'd like that one. And you know, the one thing that's important about this event is that you get a chance to be able to come, learn about us, learn about community access TV and radio, and not only that, but be able to pass the word along to people about how important this is to have in your community. Monday night, October 22nd. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, I will be here that night, and why don't you come and hang out with me for a little while, and we can chat, we can talk, we can engage, even on the radio together. How'd you like that? Yeah, you and I can engage on the radio together that night on October 22nd, 5:30 to 7:30, right here, GCTV. Our studios are located right across from the library. Can't miss us. Right exactly across from the library, next to the Chamber of Commerce here in Greenfield. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Yes, I'm Bobby C., and we only have a couple more days left here of updates that we want to share with you. And boy, the show is going by quick. Can't believe how we're flying through this bad boy here today. Want to thank our underwriters. Thank you so much to the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant, serving up breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Also by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turner's Falls. Great people, great food. Hey, meet me at Hubie's. Also by our friend Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services. You having trouble hearing? She'll give you a thorough hearing evaluation. And by Denny's Pantry, Burniston Road in Greenfield, serving up breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. All right. Thank you so much, Johnny Meisner. Thank you so much, Philippe Simone. You guys do a great job, and we appreciate everything you guys do for this show. All right. We're into Thursday. After defeating Minnechaug on Tuesday, Greenfield High School took on a very tough team, and they took on the Lancers. And Greenfield gets their first loss of the year. They get beaten this one 4-0. But I'm going to tell you something. Their coach, Erin Thayer, she said it well. She said, it wasn't that I was upset that we suffered our first loss of the season, as much as I felt that we sort of gave up. It's disappointing that we lost our fight. disappointing that we didn't fight through adversity. We talked about rising to challenges this season. And, to some degree we have. But in this one, we definitely didn't. Our biggest challenge, and we didn't rise to the occasion. Hopefully, we will learn. Got to move on. That's what this team will do. Samantha Smith ended up with 20 saves. She had a huge day for Greenfield, but still 4 went by her. Not a very good game by the Wave, but they will bounce back. Agawam ends up knocking off Frontier 2-1, another good team here in the area. Frontier finally got on the board with 40 seconds to play in the game. Emily DeMaio ended up scoring with an assist from Olivia Vasilio. According to their coach, Coach Marhar said, listen, we played really flat. We had no sense of urgency. Sounds like the same type of game that Greenfield had against the Lancers. Skylar Berniski ended up with 7 saves in the loss for Frontier on Thursday. Well, Mohawk continued their winning ways. They're now over 500. That is a huge deal for a team that's really moving things up now. 6-5 on the year after starting 1-3. They beat the Tech School 8-0. Nice win. Caitlin Johnson scored 3 times. Also, Tess Rancourt tallied twice. It turned out to be a big win for them. Maya Lashir ends up with a goal and an assist. Shelby Sinister and Sydney Taylor also had goals to help the cause. Johnston, Taylor Williams, and Abby Sinister also had assists. And Kylie Boleno ended up with 17 saves in the net for the Tech School. Kaylee having a really good year for this team. All right, Turner's Falls, another big win. They knock off Belchertown 1-0. Cassidy Wozniak ended up putting a goal in. 3 minutes and 38 seconds remaining before halftime. That's where it stood, and they picked up the win. Big game for Haley Green. Matter of fact, their coach, Becky Dame, said, you know what? Huge job by Haley Green tonight. She definitely kept us in the game. The girls played hard. It was a nice another win for them. Well, let me tell you, we'll see how they end up meeting the big challenge this week when Turner's has to take on that team, Frontier. And we'll have that score update for you in just a moment. So nice job, Cassidy Wozniak. She was assisted by Amber Taylor. And Haley Green, 11 saves to preserve the shutout. Thunder, as of Thursday, 8-2 on the season. Tourney bound, baby. They are going to make tournament where last year they came this far and just missed. Well, the Tech School ended up sending a couple of guys into a special tournament that they ran last week. Last Thursday, they ended up having the PVI AC Championships, and that was down in Feeding Hills. Each one of the local teams gets to invite 2 golfers to play, and they use their combined score to see how they do. Well, guess what, folks? The team of Mike McGoldrick and Nate Pelletier from the Franklin County Tech School end up placing 6th out of a field of 27 teams. Yes, nice job. Excellent job, boys. 6th out of 27 teams. Each team got to choose their 2 golfers to compete in the tournament, and the Eagles twosome got it done. So congratulations goes out to them. They ended up with a 75. So great job done by them. If you ask McGoldrick, he'll tell you straight up, Nate and I, well, we make a great team. We work together a lot. We get along really well. We're good buddies. Usually when we're out there, we usually try to, see who can play better. I think that's great. I love that you can still have friendship, but you want to compete. I think we did pretty good against playing kids from Division I and Division II. That's right. Out of the 27 teams, division don't matter. You take your top 2 golfers and go with it, man. This team right here, Division III, and they get a 6th place finish. Great job by the Tech School. Pelletier said that playing with McGoldrick is always fun. They've known each other a while, and to be able to take on a couple of really good players from even Minichog and Munson, which, by the way, Munson ended up winning that tournament, by the way, with their 2 best golfers. But I will say this, going up against guys that you're playing with from a higher division really helps you out. And these two kids ended up playing with two kids from Minnetonka, and it really helped them. They said that too. Playing along with other players from Minnetonka, it really helped us play against a good team, and the competition was there. Munson ended up winning. They ended up having a 75. By the way, Greenfield's duo of Ryan Cody and Gabe LaRoche, they took 13th place. Mikey Kordoff, Brian Bauman, they were 15th place in this one for Frontier. Congratulations, great job. The tech school duo of our good friend Mikey McGoldrick and his buddy Nate Pelletier. Well, on Thursday, we had some field hockey action, and we talked about all those girls that were able to get things done in that one, so that turned out to be a very good, successful win right there. By the way, I'd like to run down something here for you. We do have information on exactly how the bigger teams did in that boys golf tournament. Munson, top team in the country, one of the top teams in the state, ends up with the 70. Minnetonka, which played with those two kids, they ended up placing second with Southwick. Then you had East Long Meadow, Westfield, and then the Tech. So think about this. All Division I, Division II schools, they placed sixth. Good stuff right there. Well, you know what? Thursday, it didn't matter. The other team still had to play. East Hampton and Greenfield in boys golf. And you know that Ryan Cody kid that already played early in the morning? He went out and played another round in the afternoon. Ends up being the medalist in this one with a 35 as Greenfield knocked off East Hampton 21-3. Hunter Roberts ends up with a 43, Cam Baird with a 50, Danny Provost with a 50, also Gabe LaRoche with a 51, Jay Cody with a 53. Great job, Ryan. Ryan Cody having a great year for Greenfield Golf. Tell you, this golf team for Greenfield, great group of kids. So Greenfield picking up that nice victory over East Hampton. Well, things looked a little bleak for the Pioneer boys soccer team in their game against Mahar back on Thursday. But guess what? They tied, and that was still very big. They needed that. That tie was a big deal. Now, Mahar and Pioneer still occupy the top two spots in the division, but the Senators are holding a 1-point lead. There is a difference between a tie and a win. But hey, they were able to get it done. By the way, Jason Quinn from Pioneer picked up his first career goal. Yeah, baby. Nice job, Jason. Jason ends up getting it when he hit a volley from 32 yards out, and he beat the goalie, Logan Dodge from Mahar. And then Garrett Cody scored on an assist from Felix Pruitt-Dahl. And there you go, 2-2. And a nice job to be able to walk away with a tie against the very good Mahar boys soccer team. Well, in girls soccer, St. Mary's knocked off the Tech school. Final score was 3-0. The Tech is now 4-5-1 on the year, receiving 5 saves from Emily Merritt. The team of Pope Francis knocked off Mohawk 4-1. Taylor Loomis found the back of the net and ends up being able to give her team a goal in their loss. Mohawk girls are now 1-6-2 on the season. Girls volleyball, it was Frontier knocking off Long Meadow behind double-digit kill performances from both Lauren Davenport and Olivia Dean. The Frontier volleyball team, they're perfect right now on the year in their division. They end up winning game 1, 25-23. They win game 2, 25-19. They win game 3, 25-11 at Goodnoe Gymnasium in South Deerfield. Davenport had 12 kills, while Dean also put down 12 kills. Yeah, it was a nice day for them. How about their setter, Elizabeth Fuqua, and also Olivia Rosewarne? They combined for 26 assists. Frontier improves to 12-1 overall. They are undefeated in their division. Ashley Talega total 4 kills in the win, while Haley Orlowski ended up tossing in 3 kills. Also, Dean registered 4 aces to pace the serving attack, and Talega contributed with 3, and Davenport with 2 service kills. So there you go. Hey, check this out. Riley Eisler ends up with 15 digs. Davenport also had double digits in digs with 11. Fuqua ends up with 8 digs. Rosewarne and Talega end up with 7 apiece. Frontier, they take on a big school, Notre Dame Academy, Of course, that game was played on Sunday. I have the details of that game. I'll give it to you in just a moment. Also back on Thursday, it was Athol knocking off Greenfield 3-0. Lexi Rowell continues her great year for them. Tough one, though. She lost again, 1-8 on the year. She had 10 assists and 9 aces. Alexis Farrick ended up putting down 4 aces. And there you go. Tough one there. Sabas ends up knocking off Turner's Falls. Dabney Rollins ends up with 6 kills, 3 aces, and a block. Turner's Falls fell to Sabas. They lose game 1, 25-15. They lose game 2. They end up winning game 1, 25-15. They lose game 2, 14-25. They win game 3, 25-17. They lose game 4, 21-25, and lose the tiebreaker 15-8. Taylor Murphy ends up with 8 kills, 4 aces, and a block. Also, Mercedes Morales ends up with 3 kills, 2 aces. There you go. Another tough one there for Turner's Falls volleyball. Well, in boys cross country, Greenfield continues their winning ways. 7-1 on the year, 4-1 in the North. They are looking good in tournament 2. Let's run it down. They beat McCann Tech. Final score was 16-45. They end up beating Pioneer 15-50. And I want you to know that McCann Tech beat Pioneer 20-39. Well, Tyson LeBombard ended up besting the field by some 27 seconds. His individual victory propelled Greenfield to that nice victory. I can let you know that LeBombard, he ended up doing very well with a time of 20 minutes and 6 seconds, holding off his teammate and runner-up Andy Bostrom, who crossed the line at 20 minutes and 33 seconds. By the way, Alex Terrell finished third with a time of 21 minutes and 19 seconds. Elijah ends up placing fourth with a time of 21 minutes and 50 seconds. Dalen Badillo, sixth place at a time of 21 minutes and 58 seconds. Pioneers, Noah DeRuiter continues his great running for this team. He is their top runner. Noah DeRuiter ends up with 10th place and a time of 23 minutes and 22 seconds. Greenfield girls, they beat McCann Tech. Final was 17-38. Candace Liu, she ends up having a good day as well. I can let you know that Kalami ends up leading the way with a time of 23 minutes and 59 seconds. Candace Liu ends up with a runner-up finish of 25 minutes, 25 seconds. Third place goes to Joanna Gould with a time of 28 minutes and 18 seconds. Morgan Blanchard was fifth, 29 minutes and 23 seconds. Eva Heath ends up seventh place, 29 minutes and 46 seconds to help the Wave. Lucy Coster ends up being the first person to finish across for the Panthers. She ended up with a sixth place finish, and it was 29-24. Wow, we are moving along here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I cannot believe that we are flying by so fast. Well, I got to tell you, we got some football scores to share with you here. It was a nice job done by Turner's Falls. They knock off the Senators of Mahar. Friday night football under the lights. They end up winning 28-7. I'll tell you right now, if you look at the way this team is playing right now, they are on fire. They are looking good. They're going to make playoffs, no doubt. Turner's 4-1 overall. But what about this guy who can run the ball for this team? He is unbelievable. Wyatt Keith ends up with 32 carries, 224 yards. Certainly, the defense has stepped up in this one, too. Good old Craver ends up with 4 catches for 91 yards. He had a couple of touchdowns. Jaden Whiting ends up with 4 receptions for 34 yards. And Kyle Dodge, their quarterback, 10 for 20, 150 yards with 2 scores. Look out, baby. Frontier is in the sights this Friday night. Frontier Turners, look out. Speaking of Frontier, they dominated against the Franklin County Tech School. Final score was 33-0. Their junior back, Garrett DeForest, continues to do what he does best. 108 yards, 4 touchdowns on the game for him. Very solid performance. They also had other guys who really stepped up and got things done. Matter of fact, Jacob Bryant recovered a fumble in the end zone. He picked up a nice touchdown himself, his first of the year. Congratulations to Jacob Bryant on that. Defense definitely does rule. But look out. this big team, the Red Hawks, they are tough. Edo McMillan ends up with 12 carries, 95 yards. Matt Hildreth, hey, not bad, a quarterback. He's done a nice job this season. He's very effective. That's exactly what you need from your quarterback. Effectiveness really does matter. By the way, Frontier's fullback, Alec Kirkendall, ended up with 5 rushes for 35 yards. Josh Samaski ends up with 21 yards. He also had 6 carries on the day. And Bailey Young, he ran hard, 34 carries for 113 yards. And also Dominic Bowden-Smith had 11 yards on 3 carries. So there you go. Things look good. Greenfield, big win over East Hampton. Friday Night Football. Yes, they end up picking up that victory, 36-14. Got to say, another great day for their big guy, R.J. Bird. Touchdown runs of 17 yards, 14 yards, and 15 yards. Season high, 211 yards rushing on a nice night for a victory. They needed that. Greenfield in the hunt for a playoff berth. Great job. They really have got things done. Their quarterback, Phelpsy, ends up with 8 for 10, 98 yards on the day. Very solid day for Owen. Also, want to let you know that this team right now has guys who can get it done in receiving, including Vega. Ends up with 5 catches, 62 yards. Also, Hunter Campbell, another kid who can get it done. You know, they've really worked hard. Greenfield, big win for them against East Hampton. Athol beats Mohawk 50-8. Unbelievable. Tough day for this very tough program who is lacking numbers. But the one thing the coach says that I love, this team don't quit. No matter what. We were down big all night. We were outmatched. We didn't quit. We stayed in the game. That's all that you can ask for. I can tell you that Evan Shippey rushed for 46 yards on 12 carries in the loss. So unbelievable, man. You know, that team has really struggled. And I'll tell you the reason why they struggled is they don't have the numbers. Well, watch out, because this Frontier team found out how good they really are in golf. They end up beating the other undefeated team in this area, South Hadley. Final, 13.5 to 10.5. Wow. Westfield ends up beating Mohawk also on the links. Munson beats Turners 18-6. Tech School ends up knocking off Central 16.5 to 1.5. Field hockey. Frontier beats Turners Falls 4-2. So Turners is now 8-3. Watch out. Those girls from Frontier are playing really well right now. They are 6-3-2, but they've played a lot of really good teams. That is for sure. So congratulations to them on their victory. Southwick ends up beating the Franklin County Tech in girls soccer. Also, I want to let you know that in girls soccer, it was Pioneer tying Mount Everett. Frontier girls beat Mohawk 4-0. Boys soccer, Frontier ties Palmer. Also, the Tech from the boys Tech team, they end up beating Pioneer Valley Christian School. Another solid performance for their team as they continue their winning ways, 7-0 in the league. Girls volleyball, Pioneer Valley Christian School knocked off the Tech girls on Friday, 3-1. So we have one more thing to talk about, and we wrap up the show, and this is it. You got it. It was that matchup between Notre Dame Academy of Hingham and the girls from Frontier in some solid volleyball. What do you got? Game 1, Frontier wins 25-17. They win Game 2, 25-20. Win Game 3, 25-18. They sweep the victory, and they sweep the season series. Frontier improves to 13-1 on the season. Great job for them. Field hockey, Pioneer girls beat Palmer 3-0. There you have it. Franklin County Varsity Sports Report is done for another week. I cannot believe how fast this went by. Wow. Well, we'll just have to make sure that we sort of get things done a little quicker next week. We had so many things to talk about. Thank you so much to the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant on Avenue A in Turners Falls. For Johnny Meisner, for Philippe Simone, I'm Bobby C. Remember, support your local sports teams, and we'll talk to you next week here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report.